partnership I honestly wasn't expecting was announced today, and Afterpay shares have shot over $100. So in this video, I want to go over what this new partnership is all about and what it's going to provide for Westpac and what it's going to provide for Afterpay, and well, what this partnership is going to mean for the stock market and for business moving forward. Now, if you know anything about the banking sector, a lot of them have been in trouble in the past couple of years, and none more so than Westpac. And it pains me to say, as a Westpac shareholder, and I hope that there is no more trouble, especially with the YouTube algorithm. So please take your time to go down there and smash the like button for me. That'd be greatly appreciated for the YouTube algorithm, and yes, it does help the video get recommended onto other people's homepages. So if you've been like me this morning, have had a peek at your watch list and realized that Afterpay went up to about 103 or 4 or 5, something like that, dollars today this morning, you were probably also gobsmacked thinking, what the heck just happened, given there was no major announcements on my watch list. Like, there's a little alert sign that says like there's a crazy announcement that's meant to affect the market, but there wasn't. So I really had to go and go on Google and have a look for myself. And this is what I found. Now, I'm pretty sure in a previous video, I mentioned that the Afterpay shares would shoot past $100 a share. Like, that made a lot of sense to me. But I didn't know that it was going to come in this form, and it actually makes a lot more sense as I dug more into it. And what's a better way to go about it than to partner up with a bank who hasn't really had the best traction with a younger demographic and secured new customers? Now, surprisingly, Afterpay is actually not the first buy now, pay later that Westpac has pursued. It actually pursued Zip before that and actually has a shareholding within the company as well. A decent one, of course, it's a bank. Now, together, Zip and Westpac were able to make Pocketbook, which is like a pretty cool cash management app where it shows you all your expenses and tries to categorize them. I used them for a bit, but it miscategorized too many things, and yeah, it just didn't really grab my attention, and I didn't stay as a user. Now, whilst Westpac was declined for a few other initiatives by Zip, Afterpay welcomed them with open hands for, well, of course, the banking license and all the banking facilities on the back end, including deposit holdings and also savings accounts. All of these facilities, products and services now, if they can secure it and integrate it properly, they can offer to their 10 million plus customers all around the world. Now, this is great for Westpac because they've been looking in 2019 to integrate with a company called 10x, a technology platform, to hopefully provide banking as a service and delve outside of what their core business operations are. Now, if you don't know what 10x is, shame. Just kidding. I didn't know what it was either, so I had to trust on the reliable, good old Google to find the website in the first place. And it's not easy as first, because when you type in 10x, you get good old Uncle Grant Cardone coming up, and that's the wrong 10x. I was not looking for that one. So like I said, I had a Google around, and basically they are an API-driven platform which helps transform the way you use banking, and it does so by providing a more personalized experience, which a personalized experience would require a lot of user data to be able to give them that personalized experience. And guess who has a lot of user data from looking at things that you might be buying? Afterpay, right? They're 10 million plus customers. You can kind of see trends and demographics in certain areas of the world, age groups and whatnot. So they've got all this data, and it'd be great if we could integrate this with some technology to provide people with some personalized experience. You see how it kind of makes sense and is possibly going to work out very, very well for the two to join together. But yeah, basically 10x is looking to shake up the whole banking finance industry, which really has stayed stagnant. So what exactly does this mean for both parties? Well, for Afterpay, they essentially get new products and new services to keep their large customer base staying within the same ecosystem. So instead of going to close down the Afterpay app and going to your banking app, which you would normally do to maybe set up the repayments or just change money from different accounts to make sure that you've got the money to pay for the purchases that you've made on Afterpay, you now stay within the app where you could probably check your transaction, your savings account, and all those other types of things that you would normally have to do in a separate banking account. Now, this is no different than the typical social media model where they get you to keep staying within the ecosystem, and the more that you stay, the more your consumer habits are shaped by the ecosystem and the platform, and the more data they can generate on you also. Some of the data might include, well, how risky is the person? How much money have they got in their savings account? How often are they making their repayments on time? Are they paying a little bit more back? Are they scheduling just enough money in that account to pay it back, or are they bolstering that just in case? So it really also shows how safe certain demographics and age groups are also in making those repayments. So there are a lot of benefits from Afterpay to be able to partner up with somebody like a Westpac to use their facilities on the back end whilst they obtain more information about their users. If they do make a high interest savings account, I actually hope that it is a high interest savings account and not one of those, ones from the big four banks which are really, really low in terms of interest rates. And what's in it for Westpac? Well, they'll be introduced to, like we mentioned before, potentially 10 million plus customers that they wouldn't have had otherwise. Now, I know that a lot of these customers are international, and so there are a lot of financial regulations that they're going to have to meet. I don't know if it becomes like a PayPal equivalent where, they're quite traverse across the whole world. But in saying all of that, if this is executed really well and marketed really well, and whether they get, a really cool personalized debit card or a digital version of that, I don't really know. You could probably contact maybe email payments to make some personalized cards. I think that'll be really cool and a really nice way to market it as well. If that's executed really well, what Westpac is going to have is a lot more holding money within their accounts. So what does having all these deposits mean? It means that they can lend out more money and make money on the net interest margin that they would have. Now, with the benefits aside, what this really shows is the shift in dynamic between bank and non-banking businesses. So essentially, when we had a CBA, a ANZ, or a Westpac, or let's not forget NAB, who is the front face for the customer trusts the bank, and so therefore they transact with the bank. Now the bank is being moved to the back end, and now we have a business or a service that the customer is used to using, and now they act as the financial service, also far as the customer's aware, and the bank takes a back seat and does all the things on the back end with their licenses and their facilities. This way, the business or the service gets to keep the relationship with the customer and maintain that and develop that and make that more personalized to keep them coming back for more. Now, you don't have to look very far to see successful models of this. We see it in Alipay, WeChat Pay, who've both pretty much done away with the need to trust a traditional banking corporation with our money. And this becomes a lot easier once we become a cashless society because we become a lot more detached from our money. Anywho, so in this case, Afterpay will maintain the relationship with the customer, which I think it rightfully should, and continue to build upon the experience for the user inside the app. And no matter what new products or experiences come along, it's going to have the same Afterpay feel for the younger demographic that are coming through. Now, from a growth and a business model perspective, I have a feeling this is going to benefit Westpac more than it will Afterpay. And hear me out. Now, I have a feeling what Afterpay is probably looking for, and they're always pushing the boundaries. They're always looking to push the boundaries. What they're going to look for is going to require Westpac to remove a lot of friction when it comes to transacting, which has probably been in the whole banking system for a long time, and that's probably based on the regulations that they have to abide by. Now, I'm hoping that they still abide by these regulations and don't, take on any more fines. That would be greatly appreciated because I need my dividends to come through, by the way. But what I'm also liking about this partnership is that Afterpay is looking at some cash management software or programs that helps a lot of their consumers become more responsible spenders. Now, you can take that however you want, whether you believe that that's what they want to do, or if you just think that they want more conversions and just more transactions to come on through. But basically, in the words of their CEO, he just wants the consumers to avoid the debt trap that a lot of people fall into with credit cards. And this is, again, the shift to possibly move away from credit cards into a new service like Buy Now, Pay Later, which, to be honest, in my opinion, is not that much different. Now, with new services and new products being introduced by Afterpay, you would think that they are gaining new sources of revenue. But I don't think that's the case because they have no intention to charge any fees for transactions, any account fees or anything like that. And also, there's been no disclosure about how Westpac and Afterpay might be sharing revenue or sharing profits. But I imagine there should be a profit sharing agreement down the track, unless Afterpay decides to start selling ads within their app. Now, the concept of a buy now, pay later and a bank joining forces is nothing new. CBA's purchased Klarna, the Swedish fintech buy now, pay later, which is apparently their biggest fintech company in Sweden. And with that being the case, you know that CBA is going to put every single feature possible that they've developed within the app, which, by the way, over time, as a personal user, has gotten so much better. And also, according to the AFR, Volt Bank has been pursued by many of these businesses also to borrow their licenses so they can hold on to the customers' deposits, which they seem to have a lot of. And so I think this business model is going to be a lot more common because it's really hard for a financial institution to gain new customers. The only way you gain them is by either giving them free money or having a higher interest rate. And even the higher interest rate, not a lot of people kind of jump on. There's a few of them that are very savvy that do so, but not a lot. But if you create a new product or a new service that people can get hooked on, and then the banking aspect falls underneath that within that, ecosystem that they're in, then it becomes a lot easier to convert new customers over. So I do see this being a trend. Anyways, guys, that's my thoughts today on Afterpay and Westpac joining up. Let me know in your comments below, what are your thoughts about it? Afterpay hitting over $100 a share. Crazy. I wish I still had my money in there. Would have made somebody's salary. Yeah, easily. For sure. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Catch you later. Cheers.